Hi friends, my name is Dr. Bhavani Iyer. I'm an optometrist working for UT Health. Because of the coronavirus epidemic, there is a big need for personal protective equipment, particularly face masks. So I thought I'd show you how to make your own homemade face masks. So let's look at the materials you need for this. You'll need a good sewing machine, a pair of scissors, a ruler. I have cut out 100% cotton material, 2 pieces of 9" by 7 inches. 9 inches this way and 7 inches that way. 2 pieces of lace trimming. This is the same material that you use in drawstrings. If you can find that, that's okay. If you can find elastic, then just use 6 inches. Because this is cotton material and it will shrink when you wash it, I have cut out about 7.5 to 8 inches, hoping that when it does wash, it will shrink down to approximately 6 inches. A good pencil and a seam ripper. I also have batting material that I'm going to use as a filter. Just regular cloth masks by themselves will not provide any protection against anything other than just regular dust. So we want to use some kind of a filter material. So we're going to stitch these with a pocket so that the filter material can be inserted in and taken out. If you can't find the batting material but do have access to some of the medical grade Hyliard material, you can use that as well. These are 6 inches by 4 inches long. You can cut those out and insert those as filters as well. We get these from the hospital after they process medical material that they use for surgeries. So let's get ready to stitch. So what I'm going to do is take this material and flip it so that the printed material is down. And I'm going to stitch this end to end. And on this side, I'm going to stitch from here till about here, leaving a 3-inch gap of unstitched material, and from here until here. So here's one that I stitched. So I stitched it from end to end, and now I'm going to stitch this side with a 3-inch gap in between. This will allow us to flip the material inside out. Now let's take it to the sewing machine and see how this side is stitched. So I'm going to stop right there and then lift my paddle up, go up about 3 inches, come down with my paddle, and go through the rest. Now I will cut my end, and don't worry about the open thread in between. We're going to close it all up in the end. So this is how it should look. So it has a little gap. Okay? Now it's also open on this side right now, but we're gonna stitch that up in just a second. So now what we will do is we will take our lace and kind of throw it in there so that it forms a little V, and you're just gonna leave a little bit of that thing sticking up there. And similarly on this side, you want to take a little bit and make sure it sticks out so that it doesn't pull through when you stitch. Make sure your material is not twisted on the inside. So let's take this to the sewing machine and stitch this. Do the exact same thing for the other side. So you're going to throw this in here and leave a tiny little gap up there. Same thing on this side. So let's stitch this end. All right. So when that's done, you go through and flip it. And then you can just pull this out and pull that side out. See, now you've got a nice little bag, okay? Don't worry about this open end. So you're gonna take this to your ironing board and press it down. And when it's pressed, it's going to look like that. So now that our material is ironed, I'm going to show you how to pleat it. So you want to pleat down like that, grab and down, and grab and down. So you want roughly 4 inches that way. Okay, if it's a little bit less, that's not a big deal because it is going to open up all the way. If you want to, you can actually put little pins here to help you hold the pleat. That way you can just get them stitched in one shot. Or what you can do is like how I do, I just take this and put it under the machine and I get one stitch done, one sleeve done, and then I wait for a second and then put the next pleat, stitch the next pleat and then go down. So basically you want 3 pleats. Okay, let's take it to the machine and stitch the pleats. So when stitching the opposite side, what you can do is actually use a little pin if you want, and just sort of pin your pleats in place. That might make it a little bit easier. Then you can just adjust it and make sure that both sides are roughly about 4 inches. Okay, so let's stitch this side. It all depends on how thick your material is and how stiff it is. Stiffer materials might not need the pin, but the thinner materials will need the pin. All right, now my material is ready. Now, if you remember, we actually left a little gap on the top. So I'm going to show you how to put the batting material in. So you just take it, fold it in half, put it in there, and then unfold it with your fingers and basically just fix it. Tuck it into the corners if you need to. Just make sure there are no folds. It may feel a little lumpy right now, but once you take it to the ironing board and iron it, everything will be okay. I would also recommend if you want to put a stitch over here on the top and at the bottom, you can do that just to keep that edge a little cleaner. Okay, so our mask is done. I went ahead and put one more line of stitch down here and one more down here, and I pressed it and it's good to go. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like and how to put it on. Okay, so put it over the face and then over the ear. Okay, you're gonna hold the top and then hold it. Okay, just like that. I just wanted to give a couple tips. Now, right now, because this lace material is about 8 inches long, it may look as if it is loose, but once you wash it, it will shrink. So before you make any final adjustments to the lace, you want to wash it and then either put one little stitch over here to make sure it fits snugly behind the ear, or even if you want to cut it and tie it together, that's fine. The other piece of advice I wanted to give is about this little opening that we left here. You can always fold this material over and make the trimming look a little bit neater. When you're trying to mass produce this, you may not necessarily be concerned about the looks, but if you are stitching it for a loved one, or if you want to keep this for a lot longer, then I would recommend just sewing the top end of it down a little bit so that the trim looks neatly finished. You can always remove the batting material inside and replace it When washing, you want to wash with hot water so that you disinfect it. And when drying, dry it in the sanitized mode. I wish you guys all the best.